Boring is the word that describes the whole relationship dynamic between Ilya and Shane. At first, it's devaluation of Shane by Ilya, but by the end, it's tenderness and even love confession. On the surface, Ilya calls Shane boring because Shane is stable, Canadian. He tries to shrink Shane's safety, but then he realizes that this boring is exactly what he's craving. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk about popular TV characters and scenes and the emotional logic behind them. Don't forget to subscribe. And today we talk about boring. And the evolution of the word boring throughout the series includes at least 4 different types how Ilya uses this word in his conversations and relationship with Shane. Let's go one by one. And the early boring is devaluation. On the surface it sounds like teasing and insult, exactly what Ilya does because he's cocky, he's very provocative and sassy. But I think the reason why he uses this word against Shane is much deeper. I think in the very first episode, and we're gonna talk about this in the next video, Ilya envies Shane. Ilya envies this whole support system that Shane has, his whole lifestyle, parents, language, fans, belonging to Canada, to hockey and everything. I think he treats him as some kind of Canadian prince of hockey, and he really envies this lifestyle that he has. Shane gets it for free and he doesn't have to pay anything back. And I think this type of support system, this belonging, is something that Ilya does not have. It's something that feels like a luxury to him and something he thinks he would never get. And the early dynamic of their relationship is based on this envy. It was never hate, even though Ilya tried to frame it as hate, rivalry, competition and everything, but that was envy. Not in a negative meaning, but I think it's something that Ilya noticed that is different about Shane. And here are the examples. No boring Canadians. I think when he talks to Shane during the All-Star game, he was teasing Shane and Shane understood that. Another example, I think when he talks to Svetlana while watching the interview, and I think this is the best example of Ilya envying Shane's lifestyle, because this is the interview at the cottage. Shane is doing yoga in front of the lake. This is exactly what Ilya envies in Shane. This calmness, this peace, this steadiness, this lifestyle. He has another example of Ilya trying to use boring against Shane is the Olympics. He also tries to insult Shane and make him leave because they cannot talk and it's not safe, and he does not want to talk to Shane right now. But I think he also envies this support that Shane can offer. Even though they are rivals, Shane still cares. And here we need to go to the second meaning of boring, which is denial. So in denial, basically, this relationship, this situationship does not matter, you don't matter, this is not emotionally dangerous for me. So he continues to use this word as a protection from emotional attachment to Shane. Of course, we need to talk about the bathroom scene, because again, Ilya used the word boring in their conversation. And this bathroom scene is full of emotional danger, of course, because basically the whole situation with Shane corners Ilya, right? Because he was not ready that Shane would care that much, that he would be hurt, he would feel hurt and would be not just annoyed at Ilya, would be really wounded and would talk to Ilya about that. And here Ilya has basically 2 options, right? He could accept and say, I'm sorry that I hurt you, I was scared, I was not ready for all of this, but can we talk and figure out what we're gonna do, right? That's not the option for them. Unfortunately, they cannot talk like this, right? And that's why he goes with the second option, which is try to ignore, try to stay away from Shane's pain and go back to the language that Ilya knows, to the language of teasing, rivalry, competition, sexual tension and everything. He tries to get back the control of the situation and he goes with boring because this is the only, unfortunately, language that he knows, that he can speak to Shane. So, and this is exactly what helps him get the control over the situation, to get the control over Shane, because Shane lost it. And Ilya goes back to the language that he knows. Mockery, flirtation, teasing, rivalry, competition and everything. And this is how they avoid talking about that. This is a really great example of using boring as a shield against emotionally vulnerable situation. We already talked about this, but Ilya is afraid of being vulnerable, and Shane actually cornered him right there. And the next stage of boring I would call as desire for safety. When their relationship deepens, Ilya starts to realize that this boring is exactly what he's craving. He tries to get closer to Shane. He tries to build this connection differently. He still uses this word, but now it's more like communicating to Shane that you are safe, you are steady. This is kind of a compliment that Ilya starts to say to Shane. And I think the best examples of this pattern in their relationship is two scenes. The first one is the tuna melt scene. And of course, this scene is full of mixed signals from Ilya's point of view, right? He tries to connect, he tries to balance between being emotionally vulnerable and being his old cocky Ilya with all this teasing, boring, and everything. And yes, Shane cannot grasp this, but this is exactly what he tries to do. He tries to cook this tuna melt and be nice. It's also very scary for him, so he tries to get back to his old mockery style of communicating with Shane. And the next scene is in Tampa during the All-Star game. I love this scene because this is the first time when Shane says, "I'm sorry for being boring again," or something like this. And I love this because he kind of learned the drill, and now he tries to use this phrase against Ilya before Ilya uses it. He gets that this is a kind of shield that Ilya uses, and he says it before Ilya can use it as a shield, so they can talk about their feelings, emotions, and all this stuff. And the final meaning of boring is when boring becomes home to Ilya. So finally, he accepted that this safety, steadiness is exactly what he's craving, and exactly that he hasn't got as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, right? This is exactly what he needs. I think actually that the whole experience that they had at the cottage, Ilya would describe as boring, right? This type of vacation he would describe boring before that happened to them, right? And we know that in the long game, Ilya starts considering these summers as the best part of the year. We need to talk about the cottage here because this is exactly when Ilya stops escaping this boring and embraces boring, right? And the two examples here that I really love, the first one is when they talk about Shane's dad. And I really like this moment because they connect this moment, this scene, to the scene at the bathroom through this word, through boring, because he references boring and New Yorker, and it goes back to the bathroom scene. I think this is a great look because here we see how Ilya treats Shane differently, how he feels differently, how he communicates differently. I think it shows a really great growth throughout the series, throughout the episodes, right? Through the word boring, of course. And the next scene, and he's so boring, and he drives this terrible car, and he doesn't want this problem to ever go away, right? This is a great moment. That just shows that now he's ready to accept it, he's ready to fight for it, right? And he just completely changed his perception of boring at that particular moment, right? And in the book, the first book, actually, it's not in the series yet, but Ilya buys the same type of car because it's good in the snow, right? And also to make it less noticeable when he drives from Ottawa to Montreal. So he also drives this boring, terrible car. So this is the evolution of boring. So we go from devaluation of Shane's support system and lifestyle to boring as tenderness, boring as love confession. It has been also confirmed by Jacob Tierney that boring is some kind of love confession that Ilya uses before and even after. They start saying I love you to each other and confess love in more regular ways, let's say. Yeah, but boring is a really nice bit that they try to keep. I'm not sure I need to check whether they use it in the log game. I'm reading it right now. Let me know your favorite boring scenes, or maybe boring moments from Heated Rivalry. Maybe I missed something. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. Appreciate it so much. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next video is gonna be the rewatch. Finally, yeah. I was writing the script for the rewatch and I was like, boring. Maybe we need to talk about boring before, because it's really great. See you in the next video. Bye bye.